Hey everyone, it's Bree and welcome to the first episode of my new podcast. So you guys are probably wondering, what are you talking about? Um so essentially, I have really been battling with what I want to do with my content recently because when it comes to being a content creator, you battle with, most content creators they tend to battle with two different things, right? Especially when you're in your beginning stages of being a content creator. You have to first battle with, okay, what do I want to do? What type of content do I want to make? Am I making content that I'm passionate about and that I care about? But then on the flip side, if you're looking to actually grow your audience, you also have to stay relevant and current. And so, how do you maintain doing both of those things seamlessly to where you're still enjoying the content that you're making, but it's also, reaching an audience and you're still growing and building your platform? And for me, I've struggled with that a lot to where there's certain content that I want to make, there's certain topics that I want to cover, but I know that if it's not relevant and if it's not being talked about, then no one is going to watch it. And that's not to say that you should make content purely for views. But again, if you're taking content creation seriously and you want it to actually turn into something that you do full time, you do have to treat it as a job. And if you're making content creation as, your job and your side hustle, you do kind of have to play into trends a little bit because you still want to maintain your audience and you want to grow your audience to a point where you can depend on it for, either your side income or even your sole income. And so for me, I've done pretty much everything on this channel, right? I have done vlogs, I've done reaction videos, I've done social commentary on pop culture. I've talked about the housewives. I've talked about gaming stuff. I've talked about so many things on this channel. But I really want to hone in on one thing. And I feel like part of why my content is so all over the place is because I don't know, it's difficult because like I find something that sticks, but then I might get bored of it. Even with the reaction videos, right? Like the reaction videos were doing really, really well on my channel. They were generating a lot of views, but I didn't really want to do reaction videos like that, and I didn't see myself doing reaction videos full time. Again, with this channel being called Life with Bree, I still want to stay true to that and still, touch on things that are about my real life. That's what I'm passionate about. And so, with that being said, I, played around with, certain things, certain topics. And again, I've been doing kind of like the pop culture stuff recently. And but I don't always want to talk about celebrity news and celebrity gossip either. And so I'm like, okay, let me figure out a way to still incorporate serious topics that I want to cover, but then also try to tie it in with relevant trends and relevant pop culture topics that it could tie into. And so that's what I'm aiming to do in this first video. And honestly, I've been wanting to do a podcast for so long. For those of y'all who have been like really following me for the past couple of years, you would know that I tried to make a podcast twice before. Um, Mainly, in 2020 when the pandemic happened and, I was bored. I was trying to come up with things to do. I had came up with two podcasts that I've did before. I had Complicated Conversations, which was a podcast that is similar to what I'm doing with this one, which is just again touching on complicated topics and conversations. And then I also had another podcast called The Melanin Report, which, that was like basically the Melanin Report was gonna be kind of like a shade room, a neighborhood talk, but without the mess. But it was going to be a platform where I talked about news, I shared news that, I get from other sources and share my commentary about it. I also had a whole like Instagram page where I was like literally like had the whole shade room format where I was sharing celebrity news where I was, shouting out people's birthdays and stuff. Like I was actually gonna like do a full on out, and then I just decided I didn't want to do that anymore. So I've tried to do podcasting before in the past, and it just I wasn't consistent with it. But also I didn't want to do it by myself. Like, and it's still like even now, like, I would be open to doing a podcast with someone else, but I really need to flesh out what that would look like and who I would even have as a co-host, because that's the other thing too. I need a co-host. And it's funny because I was actually going to launch a podcast with someone that I know. But some things happened, and it probably just would not be a good idea to move forward with that idea now. But yeah, I've been trying to get a podcast up in the works. And so part of what inspired me to even, turn my content into a podcast format is some of the new formats that have been coming up recently. So I don't know if you guys know this, but YouTube is now coming out with their own section on their platform for a podcast. So now, the same way that you go on someone's channel and you see you have a category for shorts and live videos, you now have a category for podcasts. And so that's where these videos are going to go to. They're going to go to that podcast category, and I'll see how it goes. And I also saw that Spotify is now introducing video podcasts. So the video that you guys are seeing me film right now, I can put this video on Spotify under the podcast section, and literally you guys can watch and listen to my video, but that your phone necessarily having to be turned on. Like, you guys could put this video on while you're in your car and play it through Spotify, and it'll still play the audio. And so seeing all of these new changes come with podcasting, and again, me just wanting to do a podcast, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this new format, because again, there's some topics that I really wanted to cover. And there was also a lot of fear that I had with changing up my content, because with any content creator, it's like, when you're doing something and it's working for your channel, you always have a fear of experimenting and doing something new, because you always wonder, well, is the audience going to be receptive to it? Are people actually going to watch this? And honestly, and this isn't to because again, you shouldn't get caught up in numbers, and I try not to get caught up in numbers. But if we're just being real, the numbers on my channel haven't been doing the best. Like, they're not at a point where I'm necessarily risking anything. And so I'm like, well, if numbers are already low, I might as well experiment and see where this goes. So that's what I'm doing with this video, and with this I keep saying video. I'm trying not to say video and channel, because I know I'm going to put this on Spotify. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, this will be my podcast. I'm just going to call it Life with Bree podcast. If you guys have any suggestions on what I should name it, or if I come up with something else, then I'll rename it. But until then, I will just keep it as is. And so what prompted this episode, as you guys can see in the title, body shaming, unfortunately, is still a thing that a lot of people, a lot of women, men, some men as well, but I mean, let's keep it real. Body shaming mainly happens to women. It's still becoming an issue. It still is an issue in 2023. Not even becoming an issue. It's just, it's an issue that I feel has not gotten better. I just feel like, women tend to get shamed for their bodies, literally, no matter the size, the shape. Like, literally, you can be super duper skinny, or you could be a little bit on the bigger side, and people will still find something to say. Now, yes, obviously certain body types get praised more, certain body types get judged more. And so that's not to say that it's equal across the board, because it's not. But it's still an issue. And what made me even want to touch on this topic is the situation that happened with Ariana Grande. So for those of y'all who don't know, Ariana Grande, she hasn't really been in the media and on social media like that in the past couple of years. But in some of the, images and videos that have come out with her recently, a lot of people have been commenting on her weight. Now, some of these comments come from a good place, some not so much. But either way, it's not right for people to sit there and make such harsh criticisms about someone's body. I understand that we all have thoughts and opinions, and so I'm not even saying, you can't speculate, but to put those speculations on someone else directly in their comments, in their DMs, like to just throw your speculations at someone, accuse people of things that you don't even when you don't even know what's going on in their life, to me just doesn't make any sense to do. And so I think Ariana got sick and tired of people talking about her body, and she decided to address a lot of the comments. One of them being that she had an eating disorder. Like, people were very heavily suggesting. I can't even say that word. Suggesting that she had some type of eating disorder, that she was anorexic, that she was on drugs. Like, people were coming out of the blue with some serious allegations. So I think Ariana got tired of it, as anybody would. And I hate when, celebrities get met with an insane amount of hate or criticism about something, and then people expect that celebrity to just be quiet and ignore it. I think it's way easier said than done. And I think a lot of times we tend to forget that these celebrities are still human beings. And that's why to this day, I will never claim to be a stan. I am a fan of certain celebrities, but I don't consider myself a stan because I cannot stand stan culture. The way that people feel entitled to these celebrities in their lives, the way that people feel as though they know these celebrities inside and out just because of what they may or may not post on social media. It's very odd and weird, the level of obsession that people have over celebrities, and I don't have that feeling with anybody. Like I said, I'm a fan of certain people, but I feel like with stan culture, it's like people will blindly follow behind a celebrity, and they'll sit there and like they'll battle people in the comments. Like they do entirely too much. But it's to the point where these fans, they feel so invested and entitled to a celebrity, and that's just something that I cannot get down with. And so yeah. But anyway, with that being said, she did address this. I think it was just on TikTok that she addressed it, and then the video went around. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and play the clip right now for those of y'all who did not see her address this.
Hi everyone. I have made my coffee. I'm on my way to work soon. I just wanted to come on, and I don't do this often. I don't like it. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it, and I don't like it, but I just wanted to address your concerns about my body and talk a little bit about what it means to be a person with a body and to be seen and to be paid such close attention to. I think we should be gentler and less comfortable commenting on people's bodies, no matter what. If you think you're saying something good or well-intentioned, whatever it is, healthy, unhealthy, big, small, this, that, sexy, not sexy, we just shouldn't, we should really work towards not doing that as much. There are ways to compliment someone or to ignore something that you see that you don't like, that I think we should help each other work towards, just to aim towards being safer and keeping each other safer. But I just also wanted to say, one, there are many different kinds of beautiful. There are many different ways to look healthy and beautiful. I know personally for me, the body that you've been comparing my current body to was the unhealthiest version of my body. I was on a lot of antidepressants and drinking on them and eating poorly, and at the lowest point of my life when I looked the way you consider my healthy, but that in fact wasn't my healthy. And I know I shouldn't have to explain that, but I do feel like maybe having an openness and some sort of vulnerability here will be something good might come from it. I don't know, but that's the first thing. Healthy can look different. The second thing is you never know what someone is going through. So even if you are coming from a loving place and a caring place, that person probably is working on it or has a support system that they are working on it with, and you never know. So be gentle with each other and with yourselves. And thirdly, the third one's unrelated, I guess. I just wanted to extend some love your way and tell you that you're beautiful no matter what phase you're in. By the way, I'm not wearing eyelashes or eyeliner right now. This is my face, these are my eyes, so don't freak out about that now too, please. Oh my God. But yeah, sending you guys a lot of love, and I think you're beautiful no matter what you're going through, no matter what weight, no matter how you like to do your makeup these days, no matter what cosmetic procedures you've had or not, or anything. Yeah, I just think you're beautiful and wanted to share some feelings. Have a very beautiful day, and I'm sending you a lot of love.
Okay, so you guys just saw that clip, and again, Ariana is so sweet. I am a fan of Ariana Grande. I love her. I love her music. But yeah, and it's sad that it even got to the point where she had to address it. But again, she's human, and I'm sure she is sick and tired of hearing people talk about how she has an eating disorder and all of that. And I hate that she even felt the need to reveal such personal information about herself in terms of her being on antidepressants and her, drinking a lot. Like, those are probably things that she never wanted to reveal, but she felt like she had to get people to stop making such harsh criticisms against her and her body and her health. And that's also another friendly reminder that, again, just like she said, you don't know what people are going through, and you can't just look at somebody and tell what their health status is. Yes, there are some physical ailments that you can see on a person that might suggest that they're going through something, but all in all, you don't really know. The same way that you can have someone that maybe is a little overweight, but they're still healthy. And, I wanted to bring up as well some of the other celebrities that this happened to. Chadwick Boseman. I feel like we keep bringing him up in these conversations because it just feels like no one learned their lesson. As much as people wanted to act as if they were so remorseful for making the comments that they did. I mean, they literally were making fun of Chadwick and just saying such mean and harsh things, telling him he needs to eat, all this and that. And then come to find out the man has cancer and passes away from it. And so you would think after that, the internet would tighten up and say, look, let's not judge and let's not make harsh criticisms against people that may look like that, because you don't know what they're going through. And again, and just like Ariana said, even if it's coming from a place of love, it still doesn't feel good as that person to have that constantly being brought to the forefront, and constantly putting a spotlight on the fact that they don't look good, or they look ill, or they look too skinny. No one wants to constantly have that thrown in their face, especially if they know and they're aware that they're sick and there's nothing they can do about it. You also see this with Tracy Braxton, when Tracy also had kind of removed herself from social media, and then a picture had surfaced of her looking very fragile and very skinny, and people were like, oh my gosh, she looks so bad, she looks horrible. Come to find out, the lady got cancer, and then what happens? She passes away. And so it's like, this has happened on a multitude of occasions where celebrities may come out not looking the best, and people will just rip into them and just throw it in their faces as if they don't know that themselves, or if the people in their lives aren't, checking on them and telling them or whatever. It's like, we see this happen time and time again, and then we find out something horrible about them, and then everyone's like, oh my God, like, we shouldn't have judged them, we shouldn't have said anything. But then y'all keep doing it. And so I think the moral of the story here is stop body shaming, stop criticizing people's bodies, and stop throwing people's insecurities about their body in their faces. It's like, I don't understand why people can't just mind their business. Again, I understand you wanting the best for someone, like naturally, and if you see someone that looks a little sickly, you just wanting them to do better. But there's just a certain way that you go about that, and there's a certain way that you can support those people, in that. And I think, to Ariana's point, is like we have to start being a little bit more intentional with our words. And if it is coming from a place of love, then your messages and your comments need to lead with that. It needs to lead with love and compassion, because just trying to make someone feel bad for how they look physically, I don't think, I feel like that's doing more harm than good in that instance. And I think it's just really sad how fixated we are on people's bodies. I mean, literally we see, the rise of, plastic surgery. And you can say what you want about people who choose to, partake in plastic surgery. I'm not judging anyone who has gotten plastic surgery done, but I'm just speaking to those who have opinions on it and who are very harsh with their opinions. I think when it comes to plastic surgery, with the exception of a few, but let's be real, most people that get plastic surgery, it's to fix an insecurity that was created from other people creating that insecurity. It is what it is. A lot of our insecurities come from people making us insecure about a certain thing. If people made fun of your nose, your lips, your feet, whatever, it makes you insecure. And a lot of times people will try to go and get cosmetic surgery to fix it, so then that way people can stop making comments about it. But the problem is is that with the way society is, people will find something to say no matter what you do, no matter how much you try to fix yourself. People are always going to have something to say about your body. And it's just crazy to me how for so long women's bodies were getting criticized so bad that you have all of these women celebrities and regular people who are going and getting plastic surgery. Some from professional doctors, others are going into alleys and finding these shady people and getting whatever put in their body just to try and fit a specific image that the media is pushing and that other people are pushing onto them, just for them to all come back years later. And now women are getting bashed for having fake bodies, for having really, how do I say it, abnormally big. But like now women are starting to reverse their surgeries. They're getting stuff taken out because of what people have to say. And so, I say all that to say, it's like no matter what you do, no matter what you look like, people are going to have something to say. And honestly, I have had my own body image issues in the past. Not too much, and not to the point where I felt the need to get surgery. I probably would never get plastic surgery just cuz I'm scared of stuff like that. Um but yeah, I mean, I've had my own history with it. So when I was younger, like literally all the way from elementary school up until high school, I was a twig. I was a literal twig. I was sticking bones. That's what people used to call me. Actually, was sticking bones because I was very, very, very skinny. I was skinny to the point where you could actually see my rib, like some of my rib cage. Like that's how skinny I was. But I wasn't anorexic. I didn't have an eating disorder. I ate quite a bit actually when I was younger. Anyone who knows me knows I love to eat. So me not eating did not cause me to be that. I just was that skinny for whatever reason. Um, and literally, I didn't even reach 100 pounds until maybe my sophomore year of high school. So I was always very, very skinny, very, very skinny. Like the wind could blow me away, my entire life. But when I got to college, that got a little bit different. Or even when I got to high school, like again, like at that sophomore year of high school, my growth spurt. was fast. It was fast. Like I was growing a new jean size almost every couple of months. Like it was really really fast. And so but yeah, so by the time I got to college and even now, I weigh way more now than I did when I was younger. Like I said, it took several decades of my life to get to well, I say several decades, but again, high school was when I had finally hit 100 pounds. Today I weigh about 125, 130. And this is the biggest I've ever weighed. Now, I don't consider myself to be fat. I don't think anyone in my friend group considers me to be fat. But I have gotten comments about me gaining weight as well. And it's just so crazy because when I was younger, it was always like, you're too skinny. You need to eat more food. Literally, like, even at family functions, like, people will try to, like, force feed you more and more food, like, eat more, because I was so skinny. But now it's the opposite, where I'm being told I need to stop eating so much. And, oh, you're eating again. And and so it really goes to show you that no matter what you do, people are gonna say stuff. I mean, literally, I had a family member accuse me of being pregnant or looking pregnant because my stomach wasn't flat anymore. I had a little bit of weight to me. Like I'm at that point, I'm 23 years old right now, and I see the grown woman weight packing on. But I'm embracing it. Again, I've been super skinny my entire life. People have told me that I need to put some more meat on my bones. And now that I have some more meat on my bones, people can't stop talking about it. People can't stop talking about my thighs being big, my butt being big, which actually I appreciate that one. I take that one as a compliment. But I'm just saying, like, it's just so crazy how for so long, for most of my life, people told me I wasn't eating enough. And now I'm being told that I'm eating too much. But I'm gonna eat regardless. I'm gonna eat regardless. Yes, I could probably eat a little bit healthier, but that's the other thing too, and that kind of ties into what Ariana was saying, because Ariana was saying, like, listen, y'all are comparing me to this old body I was in that y'all claim was the healthy version of me when that was actually the unhealthiest version of me. And I can say the same thing for myself. Again, even though I was eating, the variety of foods wasn't as much as it is now. For those of y'all who don't know, I'm a super picky eater. I don't eat a whole lot of food, like variety of food. But when I was younger, it was worse. It was 10 times worse than it is now. There was a point in time where I didn't eat fried chicken. I didn't eat spaghetti. I didn't eat pancakes. But I eat all that stuff now. But when I was younger, I literally did not eat nothing. And so I think that reflected in my weight. But now that I have a little bit more variety of food that I eat, I'm gaining some weight from it, and I think that's okay. But also when I was younger, I was sick a lot. I was, back and forth at the doctor's office. Like, I was always getting sick. And so even with me being a little bit more, I don't even want to call myself overweight, but with me being a little bit heftier, I am actually currently the healthiest I've ever been. I rarely get sick outside of COVID. That's a whole different thing. But I don't get sick nearly as much as I used to when I was growing up. And I've also recently been to the doctors and I've had all types of tests and blood work done. I am literally super healthy, because I'm not going to lie. I was concerned that I was going to have some, like, diabetes issues because it runs in my family. But also I tend to consume a lot of sugar, so I'm like, oh, I'm probably on the brink of having diabetes. I'm probably anemic too because I'll always be cold. But no, all of that checked out. I'm actually, like, I'm really healthy right now, and so again, that's why I'm like, no one can tell me nothing about my weight or what I look like, because I know that I'm healthy. I'm at a healthy state right now, and that's all that matters. It really, honestly and truthfully, regardless of what your body looks like, as long as you're healthy, that's the most important thing. And I think that's what people should focus more on. And again, for some people, they're coming from a place of, just wanting to, make sure that their favorite celebrity or people that they care about are at their healthiest state. But you can't assume. You can't assume people's health. Like you just can't. And so all in all, I want to end it with this. Just stop. If you're one of those people, just stop talking about people's weight. Not just celebrities, people in your life, your friends, your family members especially. Just stop commenting on people's weight. You don't know how you're making them feel. I understand if you have a genuine concern, and if you feel like you have to say something again to someone that you know personally, it depends on how you go about it. If you go about it in the right way and you lead with love and compassion and showing that you genuinely care, then I think that's okay. But to just judge people and be so harsh and trying to make them feel bad for how they look, that's not okay. And you should not do that, because again, you don't know how you're making them feel, and you don't know how it's mentally messing with them. And you know like imagine if you told somebody like, oh, like your butt is flat, and then they go get a BBL and now they looking crazy like that. You caused that. Like, you and your comments caused that. And that's not to say that it's necessarily your fault, but again, just be mindful of the things that you say to people. You would think we wouldn't have to keep saying this in 2023, but unfortunately we do. And for those of y'all who have dealt with comments in regards to your body, or you're currently dealing with, comments against your body, try not to feed into those comments. I know that's way, 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 way easier said than done, especially depending on where you are in life. I feel like when you're older, it's a little bit easier to bypass those comments, but then when you're younger, not so much. But again, as you can see, whether you have someone like Ariana Grande, Lizzo, Doja Cat, like, it literally doesn't matter. Man, woman, literally doesn't matter. People are going to find something wrong with you, something wrong with your body, and you just have to make it a point to, be okay in the skin that you're in. But also, if you're not okay with something, that's okay too. But just if you go about fixing it, just making sure you're doing it in a way that's healthy and safe. And so, yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the first episode of this podcast. As I said before, you guys can find all of my content on YouTube, and you will be finding it on Spotify very, very shortly, and hopefully other platforms that you guys get your podcast from. And yeah, I will see you guys, or I will talk to you guys in the next episode.